Is the Coyote still good? Short answer, yeah, I think it is. And today I'm going to show you one of my favorite max difficulty bug loadouts built around it. The discourse on whether or not this thing is stupid busted or aggressively mid has been never ending, and it definitely didn't get any better with Arrowhead's huge mishandling of the entire nerf situation. I bring that up because it would feel like malpractice to do a Coyote loadout guide and not at least nod at the elephant in the room. What I actually want to focus on though is how viable the Coyote still is, because I think this gun totally rips, and with this loadout, it can handle everything from light chaff all the way up through Bile Titans and Impalers. I'm also going to walk through a few alternate loadouts and substitutions in case you don't have everything that I'm using today. Before we get into all of that, let's hit the need to know info about the Coyote and how I like to play it so the rest of the build makes sense. I look at the Coyote as a true generalist workhorse because it's the kind of primary that you can lean on heavily while your support weapon handles a specific role. With this thing, I want reliable chaff clear, solid performance against mediums, and enough ammo to stay active and engaged in fighting. And the Coyote totally fits that bill. You get 9 mags by default, 75 base damage per shot, medium armor pen, and incendiary rounds that let you tag a target, pivot, and let the fire damage finish the job. Once you get a feel for how many shots it takes to ignite something, this gun really levels up because you're not mag dumping to get value, you're just playing efficiently. It also comes in handy against the rupture stream bugs since they're bolstered with extra armor. Yeah, it's not going to yank him out of the ground like an explosive would, but anytime one pops out to say what's up, it's going right back down in flames. For attachments, I usually run the vertical foregrip and the compensator. This setup evens out the recoil and it keeps the gun feeling stable even when you need to hold down the trigger. The ergonomics take a dip to 40, which isn't amazing, but it still feels very playable and reliable. A common alternative is the angled foregrip with the muzzle brake. This bumps your ergonomics up to 50 and smooths out the horizontal recoil at the expense of bumping up the vertical recoil through the roof. If you're comfortable managing that, it's worth a shot, but it's not my thing. Let me know in the comments what attachment setup you're running on your Coyote. Everyone has a different feel for their weapons, and so I'm curious what's working for you. Alright, so let's get into the full Coyote loadout. Since the Coyote handles all your chaff and medium armor cleanly, the rest of this build is designed to support it by covering heavies, breaches, and other big pressure moments. I'm going to walk through the synergy and how I use every part of this loadout. So let's start with the heavy lifting. Because the Coyote is our workhorse, I like to pair it with a support weapon that hard focuses heavies, and for this build, that's the recoilless rifle. The undisputed king of heavy unit domination, the recoilless rifle paired with the Coyote turns you into a walking death machine. If heavies are a problem, the recoilless rifle will solve it. The only real drawback is the multi-stage reload, but with a bit of practice, you can animation cancel that to cut down on the reload time. Watch for the ammo icon to flip from red to white, and then weapon swap or stand up to finish the cancel. Since the reload is multi-stage, you can usually move and pick up where you left off if you need to reposition. For aiming, a headshot on a Charger, Impaler, or a Bile Titan is an instant one-shot. On Impalers, aim for the forehead just above the eyes, not the tentacles. Hitting a Charger on the rear weak point won't one-shot it, but it will push it into a bleed-out state, so if you can't hit the face, pop that ass instead.
I'm Cosmo Kramer, the S-Man.
Next up is the machine gun sentry, and this thing is all about consistency and availability. It gives you reliable, hands-off crowd control so that you can stay mobile and focus on bigger threats. With a 76-second cooldown, you can throw this out all the time, so make sure to use it proactively, not just when things get feisty. More uptime with the machine gun sentry means more value. It prioritizes small and medium targets, which is perfect because it keeps the battlefield stable while you deal with the heavies. It comes loaded with 263 medium pen rounds at 90 damage each, so it absolutely tears through anything smaller than a Charger. It's especially strong during breaches or when you need to reposition because it keeps pressure off of you while you line up shots with the recoilless rifle. Now try and place this slightly out of your firing lane or at least at a different elevation so it stays alive longer and it keeps it from taking your head off. Later on, I'm going to walk you through the rotation that I used when a bug breach triggers that's really simple, but it ties everything together and keeps those situations from getting too out of hand. Now, a glaring weakness in our build right now is area of effect damage, and with the Eagle Napalm pick, we're going to shore that up. Eagle Napalm gives you fast, repeatable AoE that clears space, locks down breaches, and buys you some space to breathe. And because Eagle Napalm gives you multiple charges on a short cooldown, you get that value over and over. I use this thing constantly during breaches or anytime a patrol gets out of hand. It's also a great area denial tool for blanketing a space in fire and making a quick escape. And since the Eagle missiles still have a high demolition force, they can even close Bile Titan holes. Look, Orbital Napalm Barrage is still great, but Eagle Napalm gives you 3 mini versions of it with a 100-second cooldown. Similar impact, but it's got way more flexibility. So if you haven't tried it, this is a great tool on bug missions. Okay, last up is one of my favorite sleeper picks, the Orbital Rail Cannon Strike. This is your emergency delete button for when a heavy shows up in the worst possible spot. Because the Coyote handles chaff and the recoilless rifle melts anything that you can line up, rail cannon handles the targets you can't reach in time or don't have good line of sight on. And part of this is just kind of a role thing for me. When I take something like the recoilless rifle, I feel like I'm basically telling my squad, hey, I've got the heavies. Since the recoilless rifle takes up the backpack slot, that frees my last stratagem slot to run something more niche, and rail cannon is perfect for that. It lets me double down on the anti-heavy roll without giving up anything else in the loadout. It drops a precision anti-tank shot that hits like an absolute monster. If the beam lands, the target is toast. And yeah, the targeting isn't perfect, but the criticism in my opinion is way overblown. Give it a clean line of sight and it's extremely reliable. I use this anytime a charger is bearing down on someone, you get multiple heavy spawns at once, or I need a kill and I just can't reload my recoilless rifle in time. It's basically a panic button for bad spawns or bad angles. With a 2.5 minute cooldown, you usually get one use per fight, so treat it like a clutch resource and not something to drop immediately. It's not meant to replace your recoilless rifle, but as a supplemental delete button, it's insanely good. For equipment, we're running the gas grenades. They add consistent damage over time, shut down chaff, and stack perfectly with all the fire we already have in this loadout. They're absolutely the best grenades against the bugs and unquestionably S tier. If you want to lean harder into the anti-heavy roll, thermite works great too. And if you don't have the chemical agents warbond, stun grenades are a solid fallback. For the secondary, I'm using the grenade pistol. Closing bug holes is a huge part of fighting bugs, and nothing in this loadout handles that job better or faster. You can definitely swap to the warrant if you want a more traditional sidearm, but you'll lose a lot of spotter clearing potential, so keep that trade-off in mind. And for armor, my top pick is Siege Ready. Since we rely so heavily on the Coyote, the extra ammo and reload speed feel amazing. But engineering kit, reinforced epaulets, medkit, or really any survivability passive all work if you prefer a different or a tankier setup. Now, if you want to see this build in a real mission instead of just hearing me talk about it, there's a full gameplay showcase in the pinned comment. This loadout is going to play the best when you're controlling space instead of reacting to it. The Coyote keeps you mobile and efficient, and everything else in the kit is about buying you time to deal with heavies. Your main goal is simple: create safe windows to use the recoilless rifle. If you keep that mindset, the whole build is going to feel smooth. For normal engagements, focus on quick and efficient enemy clears. Ignite targets with the Coyote, move, and let the damage over time do the work in the background. Don't just stand still and mag dump, because your value comes from staying mobile. That's also going to increase your survivability, because as we say around here, distance and space management are the most important thing when fighting bugs. When you feel pressure start to build, that's your signal to get ahead of the escalation. Drop your machine gun sentry early and take a strong position. The earlier that you act, the cleaner these fights are going to stay. Use napalm the moment things start snowballing, not after you're already overrun. One fast call-in can help you regain tempo and give you some breathing room. And you've got 3 charges, so don't be shy about using them. Now, when you inevitably trigger a bug breach, this loadout feels amazing because everything layers together cleanly. Let's go over a quick rotation. Open with a gas grenade to slow the initial wave of enemies. Create space and take a strong position away from the breach. Drop your sentry somewhere it can survive and be uninterrupted. Layer in Eagle Napalm to keep damage up and chaff under control. Use your recoilless rifle for heavies as soon as you have a good angle. Drop a rail cannon strike when heavy spawns start to stack badly or show up in a bad spot. This isn't about brute force, it's about controlling the pace of the fight and keeping things on your terms. Alright, rapid fire tips. Here are some small things that are going to make a huge difference when you're running this build. Don't overthink the recoilless rifle reload. You have more windows than you think, and you can usually dodge and pick the reload back up without losing progress. Bait Bile Titan Spits. Sidestep after that windup, finish the reload, and take the shot safely. This is really important. Defend your sentry at all costs. It's your best friend in this build, place it well, and protect it. But when things start to go south, immediately betray it. Throw it somewhere around you and let it fight for democracy while you haul ass the other direction. Orbital Rail Cannon Strike needs open air. Avoid bug structures and canyon walls, or else this thing is going to be a total whiff. Alright, let's talk substitutions, because not everyone has the same stratagems unlocked, and if you're newer to the game, you might not have all the base ones either. Sometimes you just want to tweak the build depending on the mission or the biome or the squad that you're playing with. This is where the build starts to get personal, because everybody has that one stratagem that they swear by. So let's walk through some of the best swaps and why they work. If you don't want to run the machine gun sentry, the obvious swap here is the Gatling sentry. Now, this isn't a one-to-one replacement. It is way more burst heavy. Gatling sentry absolutely shreds anything when it's up, especially at the start of a breach, but the cooldown is much longer and you need to be very conscious of placement so it doesn't dome your entire squad. If you like that tempo swing burst mentality where everything in front of you just gets eviscerated, Gatling is going to give you that. Another option here is gas mines, which are honestly just disgustingly good. They're not a direct sentry replacement, obviously, but they give you passive area denial that erases chaff and buys you a ton of breathing room. Mines and sentries are especially strong in megacity biomes or heavy tree biomes like Boar Rock because eagle stratagems tend to clip buildings or get caught in branches. Mines and sentries don't care about terrain, they just drop in and get to work. Work. There are also several strong alternatives to eagle napalm. Orbital napalm barrage is the obvious one. It's a bigger, meaner version with a longer cooldown. When you know you're going to get full value, like on a densely populated heavy nest or a bug breach, orbital is fantastic. Just remember, it's a big resource commitment because of that cooldown. Now, for something more flexible, Eagle Airstrike, Cluster Bomb, or Gatling Barrage all give you fast, responsive area of effect. Airstrike comes in strong with anti-tank properties, so if you want something that can handle heavies at the same time, this is going to be a really great pick. And if rail cannon isn't your thing, there are a bunch of solid 4-slot options. The Emancipator Exosuit works extremely well on bugs and can completely dominate mega nests and cave biomes. If you think of it like a mobile artillery platform and keep moving, you're going to have great survivability while you stomp out a lot of that chaff. The FRV is another strong pick if you want to lean into squad play. Tons of team utility, and honestly, it's just a ton of fun to use. You can always shift towards more general purpose tools like Eagle 500, Rocket Sentry, or 120 Barrage. They aren't as specialized, but they're reliable across multiple missions and biomes. And if you want to flip the whole vibe of the build, you can run a grenade launcher supply pack combo instead. With this setup, you're going to lean a lot harder into horde clears and take the ultimatum for heavy kills. Completely different feel, but it still works because the Coyote is such a flexible primary weapon. If you've got a sleeper pick that I didn't mention, drop it down below. I am always curious what weird combos people swear by. So we've talked about a lot of different substitutions and variations, and there are still way more ways to build around the Coyote than I could possibly cover in one video. But to round things out, here are a few loadouts that you can plug and play depending on what you enjoy. Loadout 1 is the standard build we covered today. Machine Gun Sentry and Eagle Napalm keep the small and medium bugs under control so you can stay focused on handling heavies with the recoilless rifle and rail cannon. Super well-rounded, super reliable. Loadout 2 is another great do-everything setup. This one absolutely dominates mega nests and it feels incredible as long as you stay on the move. And Loadout 3 leans much more into horde clear. Run a grenade launcher supply pack, rely on the ultimatum for heavies, and let the Coyote do what it does best, mow down everything else. When you're making these types of loadout choices, just look at what your squad is running. If everyone's already packing stalwarts and grenade launchers, then stepping into the heavy killer role will make your entire mission flow so much smoother. And that's really why I think the Coyote works so well in the current meta. It's not because it has absurd damage or anything that I would call broken. It's because it has a clear identity that sets it apart from the other ARs. It's reliable, flexible, and it plays well with a ton of different stratagem combos. That kind of identity is what people want in Helldivers weapons, and it's why so many players latched onto it from day one. Regardless of the drama, the Coyote still absolutely smokes the enemies of democracy, and it's going to stay a staple in my loadouts for a long time.
If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, drop a sub, and if you want more max difficulty loadout guides, there's another one waiting for you right here.
Right here?
No, right here.
Over here?
No.
Down here?
No, up here.
Good job. Great job. Peace out.